Howdy. So we are getting ready for our longest trip yet. We're going to Colorado. And I'm just trying to button down everything. And the last thing we haven't done on the engine yet, as far as just regular basic, really basic maintenance, are the fuel filters. So those are here. So I'm going to change those out right now and clean the pre-filter, which is down in here. Alright, so we have our two filters. We got these from Expedition Imports. Fantastic. This is our manual, which is going to show us the whole process of doing this. Now they tell us clean the fuel filters every 1200 hours. This engine only has about 1500 hours on it, 1545 I think. But I have no idea the history and if these things were changed or cleaned. I would hope they were by the fire department, but who knows. So I'm just going to put new ones in there, start fresh, and then go from there. And by the way, I wanted to point this out. These little Husky pouches, these are perfect for these manuals. These manuals suck. Well, they're probably just old, but they completely fall apart. So I need to go punch holes in this and put some binding in there. But they fit perfectly in here, and then you can also put a bunch of your other important manuals and stuff like that for the different parts of the truck. So this I can't recommend highly enough. Super cheap. It fits perfectly in the glove box. I shouldn't say perfectly, it does fit in the glove box. This fits perfectly inside of there. And this is what we're going to deal with. These are the two filters. They go right here and here. This is a pre-filter, so that just needs to be taken off and cleaned. Let's get covered in diesel. Just right. So we're supposed to loosen the knurled screw, push this clip to the side, and pull that off. Now this is way more than hand tight, I think. Even with my incredible strength. So we're gonna add a little pressure, being very gentle. So that is releasing air, I can hear it. I can hear it bubbling. There we go. So the knurled piece stays attached to the little arm. Ah, okay. So there's no hole in the bottom here. That just sits in the recess and pushes it up. And then the fuel is in the little shot glass. So we're going to pull that out. Alright. So we have a little shot glass. We have a filter. And there's a spring. So we just need to clean this off. Put it back in. You can see there's some I think this is just paint on the outside, but you can see there's a bunch of little crap inside of there. So it's definitely doing its job, and there's a bunch of little crap inside of there. It also says replace sealing ring. I don't see a sealing ring. Well, there's no reason for this to seal because there's no actual hole there, so the sealing ring wouldn't be here. There may be a sealing ring here at the top. That makes sense. Aha! Sealing ring. Now I don't have one of those, so we're not going to replace that. Should probably get one of those for future use. Let's put that back on there. Alright, after reviewing my video on my tiny little screen, I do believe that the spring goes on the bottom, down, and it goes in the shot glass just like that. And again, there is no hole in the bottom here. This little screw piece seats on the bottom, and as you screw it, it pushes the open end up into this piece, which then seals it with the ring that I showed you, and that is that. So let's put this all back together. You can see the little arm with the threads in the bottom. Going to thread that way down. It only goes so far. Yeah, I guess that can only go so far, or the threads would be sticking up and then they would be hitting the bottom of the glass, and you don't want that. So we're going to put this up in here. There we go, that sits up there nicely. See if we can do this with one hand. Oh. Oh, yeah, we did it. So we just tighten this down, pushes that up there, make sure it's seated nicely, and then make sure that the paint is on the back side. I'm sure you won't have that on yours. And that is just, I'm just going to do hand tight for now and see how that does. So that is it for the pre-filter. And this works really well. So I think that might be a worthwhile change from the old one. Of course, I didn't never use the old one, so take that for what it is. All right, fuel filters. Let's take these off. These, I believe, are the fastening screws to take the fuel filter housings off. These are the bleeder screws, so we'll be dealing with those later. These are what we need now. And I've never done this, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to do this one first. Let's keep that in there. I don't think that needs to actually come out. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, that was uneventful. So that's number one. Completely loose. Alright. Give it room. How do we get out of here without spilling? Nope. Alright, so this is in the way. I think that needs to be cut. Now we can push this hose out of the way. And that comes up and out. Number 2, success. So I don't know if you can see that. There's a little tube sticking up, and that was what was inside the filter, and plastic bushing on the bottom side, and that fits over that tube, and that's what was kind of tight, keeping this from coming out. So these look very different than the ones we're going to put on here, I think. Now these screws seem to have a copper crush washer on top of them. I'm going to change those out as well. This looks to be a 8x12. Make sure these fit. Last time I did this with the oil filters, they weren't even close. Oh wow, those are supposed to be white. So those look to be exactly the right size. These are Mercedes. They have the part number right there on them. That's nice. They're made out of metal. So in the manual it says we're supposed to wash these out and clean them. We're just going to replace them, but maybe I'll wash these out and clean them and put them aside. I don't know, let me know. Are these better? They seem nicer, obviously, but I guess the only part that matters is this part. And also, are these originally white? Because that's crazy. I mean, maybe it darkens up when it gets wet with anything, but still. I guess that handle goes on top, just like the handle of these. We're just going to drop that down in there. Okay, that's fun. That fits perfectly. Alright, so this one has a wear mark here that lines up with this hose. So I am thinking that that is our, this is our front one. Again, not that I don't think it really matters, but, and then that means I need to get this away from here, because that's a pretty decent divot. I'm not concerned with wearing through this, but more so the hose. Let's do number 2. Oh, here we go. Did not see that in the first one. Boom. Alright, so we got to take that one back off. Alright, let's put this one in first. Alright, this gasket seems to be completely square, so I don't think it matters which direction. That gasket is up in here. Right here. Put the new gasket in. Okay, so there's a lip up in there. This needs to go up in. Alright, you can feel it. Obviously you can't see it. So you just got to get it up in that lip. It's really gentle. It's not a problem. Now we can put this back in. Pull this up. Drop that in the hole. Tighten that down. Alright, let's take this one back off. Take our seal out of there, which is not easy to get out. Alright, so go straight up the wall here. Get between the gasket. There we go. Gasket out. New gasket in. New filter. Place canister. New crush washer. Tighten. Alright, so there is actually a torque spec for these. The filter bowl center screw, 40 Newton meters, which is 29.5 foot-pounds. As you can see in the back of the manual, there's a number of torque specs. There's another page full of them, but this is hardly covers all the torque specs. God damn it. That seems like way too much. Alright, I'm out. I don't know. Sometimes these torque specs seem way too high, or I don't know if my wrenches don't work. I've tried 2 now. I don't know. I'm afraid to go any higher than that. So I feel like this is really not super robust. I think this is actually aluminum. So yeah, I'm stopping there. If it spurts fuel everywhere, then I'll tighten it down, but that's all I'm willing to do. I'm scared. I cannot afford to crack these. So last up, we need to bleed the fuel lines.
We got a bleeder! Keep the pressure on, keep it on.
All right, so this is the second time I've done this, and these are our bleeder screws. This is number 1, this is number 2. Number 1 has to be done first. And basically, we're supposed to undo this. And you've got these slots on top, so that helps tell you approximately 2 turns. Now, to me, that's 1 and then 2. And last time I got sprayed in the face, so this to me is a weird system. The way it's supposed to work is you spray fuel everywhere in your engine, and then you pump it, the hand pump, right down in here, until you don't see any air bubbles in your fuel. So it seems like at this point, all I'm doing is filling up that shot glass down there. You can see it going up and down. So I don't know if that's filling that first. We also have to fill these up, top them off, since we emptied out a ton of fuel. Oh, okay. Now we're getting some. Mostly air. Okay. That was just straight fuel. And then we just do the same thing to the second one. Oh, there we go.
Smoke again.
Yeah. Let's tighten that down. All right, that concludes the changing of the fuel filters. I found this little pad with sticky stuff on the back I put there to protect the fuel line. So those are done. These are bled. We have the new pump handle on here. We cleaned out the little shot glass, the pre-filter, I think it's called. So that does a little bit of filtering, and then you got the two big filters, and then it goes to the injection pump, and that sends it into the engine, I believe, with all these little tubes here. So that is done. All I need to do is start it up, make sure it runs right. And then we have these filters, which I'm probably just going to throw away unless anybody has an objection to that. I kind of blew this one out with the compressed air. It says clean them with fresh diesel fuel and blow it out with compressed air. It seems like an old school way of doing it when you wouldn't throw them away. The world has changed. I guess everything's disposable. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to let these sit for a few minutes, decide what to do with those. And that concludes this video as well. So thank you for watching.